Okay, in true Calc 2 fashion, we're starting a new concept here. We're going to talk about sequences and series here in Chapter 10. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is a sequence. So we're going to go ahead and write out the definition. Sometimes I think it's helpful to go ahead and write out a full definition from the book. And this one is a good one because there's so many words in there that make an impact in terms of what a sequence actually is. So let's do this. A sequence, and here's the symbol. Now that's a squiggly bracket. Y'all, I am not good at those. Yeah, it's a little bit better, isn't it? A sub n, and then you end with a squiggly bracket. So you know what I'm talking about with those? Okay. Is an ordered, that's important, FYI, spoiler alert, that's important, ordered list of numbers of the form, and then it looks like this. So the squiggly bracket, a sub 1, comma, a sub 2, comma, a sub 3, comma, a sub 4, comma, go on and on and on, a sub n, comma, right? These are infinite sequence is what we're going through, okay? All right. A sequence may be generated by a recurrence relation. We'll get back to that. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit here. By a recurrence relation of the form a sub n plus 1 equals f of a sub n for n is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, where a sub 1 is given. Okay, a sequence may also be defined with an explicit formula of the form a sub n equals f of n for n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. All right, so I'm going to squeeze this in so we can see this whole thing. We're going to talk about this definition here for just a minute because this, ladies and gentlemen, is truly what we're doing. All right, this lays it all out. So there's a couple of main things to pay attention to. A sequence, it looks like this. This is the form that we're looking at, but here's the kicker. It has to be in order. That's what a sequence is. It has to be in order. So it's an ordered list of numbers of that form where then you have that in order. All right. There are two types of sequences that we're going to be looking at. The first one is a recurrence relation. All right. The recurrence relation means that I am looking for the next term. All right, so this is a n plus 1. So I'm looking for that next term. The kicker to this one is you have to start with an a here. You start with this a value that is given. And then once you have that first one that's given, the kicker to the recurrence relation, because this is n plus 1. N plus 1 means the next one. So what you're actually doing with the recurrence relation is you are going to build off of the previous term. That's what you're doing. You're building off of that term. So that whatever, to get to the next one, you have to build off of this one. Actually, let me write this differently. Instead of saying previous, that's why we use pencils, right? Let's say current term, because it's your existing term that you have and you build to get to the next one. I think that's a better way of saying it than going backwards with the previous. So build off of the current term whatever is given, this a sub 1 is given, then I'm going to use that, build off of it to get to that next term. That's where this a plus 1, or pardon me, n plus 1 comes in. All right? So you can have a recurrence relation that builds on itself, and you can have an explicit formula. Now, the fact that this even has the word formula in it ought to tell you something. This is legit going to be a formula. And you don't have to build off anything. It is just the formula. Now, something that is in here, and whatever, right? This is our definition, and this is what it is. But I'm going to make a little note here. Typically, and whenever we go to come up with our own formulas, like we're going to look at them at first given to us, but we're going to generate some formulas too. And I'll say typically, n is going to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. All right? It's just easier to build when you have n sub 0. And then we'll go from there. All right? So I'll do just a little side note for us as we go in here and we're looking at these. But here is a sequence. So this is what we're going to do with sequences. And we're going to be taking a look at these two different types of formulas. All right? You know we're going to do examples of them. So here they come.